Welcome, everyone. It's Walt Kasmir. I'm back again with Critical Conversations. As you know, I always bring you the best and the brightest. Today, I have a special guest for you. Her name is Jamilia Reynolds. She is the owner of Lotus Spirit Healing. And I don't want to let the cat out the bag, but she has a dynamic, authentic healing healing arts practice. And I think for people that may have heard some things about natural health and energy practices and those type of things, or may have heard positive or negative. Well, tonight is your lucky night. This young lady is going to dispel the myths and impart us with impactful wisdom that we can go away with knowing a little bit more about her healing arts. So, Jamilia, without further ado, I would like to introduce you to our audience and have you just give a little bit of your background and give us an overview of your practice.
All right, everyone. My name is Jamilia Reynolds, and I am the owner and operator of Spirit of Lotus Healing. And I am a Reiki master. I teach Reiki. I am a Reiki practitioner. And I also am a natural born healer. I come from a long line of healers. So this is something that I have been doing probably about 4 or 5 years that I'm proud to say that I kind of stumbled upon this journey of healing. It all started with Yoni steaming when I lived in Georgia. And from there, it has catapulted and grew to many different services, as well as healing tailored specifically for the woman. I do healing to help restore community, generational healing, to help restore the family. So, and I love what I do, and I'm so happy to be here with Walt.
Jamila, so you in that short intro, you gave
Mhm.
us a lot of information.
Mhm.
So tell us a little bit more about Reiki. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
You are. You are.
So tell us what's the origin of Reiki? What does it
Mhm.
mean? And kind of dispel some of the myths for us. Some people may have heard about it and or maybe they're a
Mhm.
little squeamish.
hmm And you're right about the myths because a lot of people think that it's some sort of massage, and it's not. Reiki is just energy healing, and it started by a master Yusui in Japan.
Hmm.
And he took a hiatus, went to the mountains, and wanted a way to heal people. And he was given this wonderful gift and how to attune people to heal. And that's what he did when he came back. He just started healing people. And he realized that, you know what, people were going back to the same way that they were. So he wanted to bring something a little extra and added the spiritual aspect of it because he knew just healing the body, it was something missing. And it was. And the spiritual piece of Reiki, that's something that I really enjoy and love because it helps to heal the mind, the body, and the spirit. And it helps you get to the root of who you are.
Okay, now so you when you say Reiki,
Mhm.
is that named after the original practitioner?
It is one of the forms, yes. But the practitioner, his name was Master Yusui.
Yasui.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so what exactly is the goal? What's the primary goal? I heard you say a lot of things. What's the primary goal of Reiki? It
The primary goal of Reiki is helping the body to catapult itself or start the body's own healing. That's what it does. It's like a battery starter. It kind of jump starts the body. And once the body starts, it's going to continue that journey on itself.
okay, that sounds pretty interesting. I am an advocate of bolstering the body's natural healing
Mhm.
powers. And
Mhm.
as I told you when we met, I've been a nurse for over 20 some years now. I was in various clinical practices, and Western medicine is good at trauma. We're good at acute problems, but we haven't been that effective with chronic problems. And we are just really starting to really appreciate the whole person in the medical practice.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
you mentioned um, a more holistic perspective, incorporating the spirit.
Mhm.
Can you zero in a little bit more and tell me exactly, give me some examples of how that looks when you are getting someone's body and their spirit to jumpstart the healing process?
Okay. So during my Reiki sessions, I tend to start from the crown and my way down to the root. And when I'm saying that, I'm saying the chakras. Sometimes when I'm at the throat, women, they'll begin to cry. And it's because they suppress themselves, right? They don't speak their piece. They don't speak their truth. They hold it in. So when they go to the doctor, oh, you have thyroid, hypo. There could be some problems there. So you may get the medicine to help heal it. But what about the backside of it? What about the emotional piece? What about the emotional body? What about the spirit part of it? And that's where I enjoy Reiki, because Reiki marries it all together, and it heals the mind, the body, and the spirit. Because guess what? I'm going to talk to you and figure out what is your why? What caused you to lose your voice? What caused you to be quiet? Let's go back and dig through those files. And a lot of times during those Reiki sessions, the memories will come up. And that's what triggered women to cry.
Now, so you do a kind of analysis, a psychoanalysis, spiritual analysis. Is that the proper term in your practice, or how are you coming to those conclusions when you assess your clients?
No, well, actually, there is scanning that you can do over the client, but because I'm energy sensitive, I am intuitive, I am an empath, I become you. I mirror your energetic body. So some clients, if they don't speak up, their throat may be their throat is closed. So my voice may go into a whisper, or I may struggle to talk because I mirror my client. So at this point, spirit talks to me and tell me what exactly, why, what is going on. Because if it may feel itchy while I'm doing the energy work over your throat, do you talk a lot? A lot of times they say yes. Okay, well, you need peace. Your throat wants peace. Your throat needs balance. So just as much as you talk, you should be quiet.
Okay, it sounds like there's a methodology to it. Now, you mentioned that you are a Reiki master. Now, how does
Yes.
one become a master? And if if I'm a prospective client, and when you say I'm a Reiki master,
Mhm.
what what is that supposed to convey to me to boost my confidence?
Well, I'm an energy healer first, and I'm a practitioner too. Before I took Reiki, I was doing energy work. I was happy. I was a natural born healer. I'm so excited. I'm happy. I'm going to go and heal the world. But I did not know how to channel energy nor protect myself, and I hurt myself. And it took someone to heal me to get me back on the path of healing. And once I was healed, then I began taking Reiki so I can again learn how to channel the energy through me.
Mm.
And after that, I became a practitioner and a master. And as a master and as a teacher, I'm going to teach my students to do exactly what I did not learn and what to do to protect themselves to heal. Because with Reiki 1, it's all about the physical healing. So you learn if your baby fall, um, put the energy over that knee, their bobo, so it stop hurting. But guess what? In my class, I also have a facilitator come in that knows how to read auras. She's going to teach you how to read auras. So when your teenager isn't talking to you, you can look at their aura and say, you know what? They're a little red, they're upset, or this is what is going on. You can better understand your family. And
And
Reiki 2, go ahead.
so I was just kind of making sure that I'm hearing you correctly. So it sounds like the majority of your practice is based on psychospiritual
Very
ailments
much so. It
more so
is.
than physical
mm,
ailments?
Well, it starts in the spiritual body and the emotional body before it goes into the physical body.
Mm-hmm.
Those aches and pains that you get that you don't know that you're having, that comes from your body telling you
Mm-hmm.
something's going on, but you're ignoring it. And you ignore it and you ignore it and you don't address your spiritual slash emotional body until something physical happens. And sometimes you have diabetes, a stroke. You see what I'm saying? Fibroids, a heart attack.
I'm very familiar with that phenomenon where the what some people may call the metaphysical, the spiritual, that
Hmm.
intangible stress and force that we can't really see
Hmm.
often manifests itself in stress related diseases, ulcers, heart
Right.
attacks, cancers,
Mhm.
um, a variety of ailments. Um, Now, you mentioned that you zero in on the spiritual components. Is there one thing or another that Reiki is more effective with?
Because it's a universal healing, it can be effective as any tool that you use to heal. It you can use it in anything. You can use it for your plants. You can use Reiki on your car. So when I tell you it's universal, it's universal. But what I will say is that one thing about the body is that it needs healing. And sometimes some people don't know how to do it.
Hmm.
That's where Reiki will come in because it'll catapult it into a healing. For instance, yesterday I had a client. She's going to see a therapist, and the therapist giving her homework, trying to do these different things, and it just
Hmm.
wasn't working. She just couldn't click to do it. Well, after I did Reiki on her, she became really emotional. She haven't cried like that. And you know what I told her? I told her that start talking to your daughter with flowers. Tell her nice things. Because the same things that you're telling her, the inner child with you wants to hear. Because when she was young as a child, her parents didn't tell her those things.
Mm.
So speaking life into her daughter, speaking life into herself.
So now, when you were listening to her, what gave you the clues to help you form your assessment and then start with your treatment plan?
She reached out to me because she was again going to a therapist and she didn't know what to do and she didn't know how to get to the next step. And
Okay.
she just told me her background about her wanting to do her inner work, with her trauma from her childhood. And again, she didn't know what to do. So when I was at her womb, the womb is the emotional seat for women. And when I was at her womb, I had my hand there and she broke down crying.
Mm.
So at that point, I'm just giving her energy and just releasing a lot for her. And that's when spirit guided me to tell her to start speaking life into her daughter because that's what you need for yourself. That's what that little girl inside of you needs.
Okay. And so your specialty is helping women.
Yeah, I would say so. I do
Hmm.
have multiple male clients, but I
Hmm.
do specialize in helping women because without the woman, who and where would we be?
Right,
She is the
right.
beginning. She is the beginning. And if the woman isn't happy, then honestly, she omits a frequency out into her home. She controls the pace of the energy in the home.
Hmm.
So if she's not happy, the children are jumping around, the husband isn't happy, and they're taking that out into the community.
Hmm.
But what happened if she's happy and she's healed and it's from within? Guess what? Every time she hug her children, talk to her children, it's with life and love. And the children spread that into the community. Every time she talked to her husband or they make love and he goes into her womb, her healthy, happy womb, he comes out a healthier and a happier man. And he takes that into the community. So
Now
woman is
you,
very important.
yes, yes, it is. I didn't have that particular perspective, but I understood similar concepts. Now, I
Mm-hmm.
know you mentioned a specific modality that you use with the steaming. Can you
Mm-hmm.
elaborate a little bit on that and tell us what that is and how that might be beneficial for a woman?
Yoni steaming or V steam or hip bath. That's the name it goes, one of the many names it goes by. It started years ago in different countries in the East. And I would say maybe in the past 5 or 6 years, it has become very popular and it is very much so needed for our women. And what the steam is basically just sitting on a stool or a chair, and there is a combination of herbs. I use 18 different herbs.
Oh,
And depending on what is going on with the woman, just say if there's fibroids, or she may have cysts or other reproductive problems that I don't know about because I don't ask questions, I use my pendulum. And the pendulum would tell me, okay, well, let's go and get this extra herb. So someone may have 18, some may have 21, depending on what their body may need. And they sit on that steam for 45 minutes. But before that, I do an abdominal massage just to loosen the tissue, get the energy flowing for infertility or menstruation or menopause, just to get the body started, get it jump started.
and then so how long do these sessions last? And give me an idea. Show the viewers what
Mhm.
they might expect in one of your sessions, is particularly with the yoni steaming.
The Yoni steam is a 1 hour session. When you come into my office, I have a gown, I have slippers, I have a towel. The young lady will undress and she will put on the gown. She will lay on top of my massage table and I would do the abdominal massage for 10 minutes. Afterwards, we will get up, we'll go into my steam room. I have a water room in my office, and there she will sit, no phones. I do not allow phones into the water room because the Yoni steam is very sacred. A lot of women have experienced breakthroughs. Some of them have had spirits come out of them.
Hmm.
So this is a very, very, very sacred moment. So no cell phones, and they sit on the steam on the chair for 45 minutes, and I would check in on them maybe 2 or 3 times, and be there for them if they need me to. And then sometimes it's so peaceful they go to sleep.
Now, is there a certain pattern of release, or what are you expecting, or do you just go with the flow?
I go with the flow because nobody's the same. And every reaction that I have to the Yoni steam is not the same. Some women feel energetic when they leave. Some women are tired. Some people feel comforted and loved when they're done. So every session is going to be different. It depends on the needs of the woman.
Now, I know a lot of um, natural healing modalities actually have clinical studies.
Hmm.
Although allopathic medicine tries to downplay natural health and they want to uh, have a stronghold on all medicine,
Hmm. Hmm.
are there any notable clinical studies or clinical evidence that we can look to for specific ailments that can be worked on with Reiki?
There are some, but again, there are very few people that acknowledge Reiki. There are some hospitals like the Cleveland Clinic that use it as pain management, but for most times, a lot of the Western medicines they don't receive a lot of their accolades. But if you are using a treatment and you want to accelerate your healing, or you just want to help rejuvenate and regenerate your body, I will highly recommend Reiki. To me, it should be a part of self care. I do it
Mhm.
once a month.
Now, so do you have to go to another practitioner, or can you work on yourself?
Both. I do on myself every night, but it's not the same to me.
Right.
So I do go to another practitioner.
And I heard you mention that you really have to have, it sounds like you're saying you really have to have an authentic calling to be able to empathize and actually feel the other person's energy. So
Mhm.
this isn't, it sounds like this isn't something that one can just go to classes and pursue this.
No, that's not the case at all. You don't have to have a calling. I happen to have a calling, and I'm thankful for my calling, and it has made me a better healer and a better practitioner since I've discovered Reiki. But some of my students are not healers at all, but they took Reiki 1 because they want to just have healing around for their family. Some people have children that they want to nurture and take care of, and some people have their reasons, their why, whatever it may be for them. Once you take Reiki 2, you become a practitioner, you're ready to have clients. And I have some clients that are doulas that took Reiki to help them along with their practice. So everybody have different reasons why. I have students that have products that they infuse Reiki healing energy into with
Hmm.
some of their lotions and their creams, just say for muscle joint problems or for postpartum. So Reiki is universal.
And so I heard you say there's part one and part two. So
Mm-hmm.
part one is more like for self edification and self care.
Mm-hmm.
And
It
then
is.
part two helps you actually become a practitioner.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Self.
And so, how long of a study is this?
It is. It is. I want to say maybe a year. It takes about a year to maybe a year to 2 years, depending on the person. But for level 1, it's all about physical healing, and I want my students to wait at least 90 days before they go into level 2 if they choose to become a practitioner. Because again, some people just want to do this just for their immediate families. So if this is something that you want to make into a career and then you want to go into level 2, we can do that. After that, you're a level 2 for a year, and then after that, you become a Reiki master.
And then, so what does that entail? Becoming a Reiki master.
Becoming a Reiki master is after you teach your first class. Once you learn how to facilitate it, you become a master. Prior to that, you're a Reiki 3 practitioner.
And so, are there different compensations for the different levels, or how? If I was going to try this out, how will I know that the person is giving me a fair rate for their level of practice?
Well, you can do your research and find out because there are some people that teach levels 1 and 2 on the same day. Myself, I don't do that. Again, it depends. For my rate, my level 1 class is $175. And again, I have myself and another facilitator come in. Level 2, that class is $200. Myself, I teach that class, as well as I have another facilitator that comes in, and he teaches energy healing for the body. So he teaches you qigong, breathing exercises. He teaches you everything how to help and heal yourself. Everything he did to me to help and heal me, he's going to teach that in the level 2 class, and that class is a couple hours as well.
And then, so after the student achieves the level of mastery, they're ready to practice. Do they have to study under a master for a certain period of time, or do they just hang out their shingle and go to work and learn as they go?
Well, at level 2, you're a practitioner. So
Mhm.
you can start taking clients at your own pace. That's up to you, but you're ready. My students, they still come to me for Reiki. I offer Reiki to my students anytime because the healer needs healing as well.
Mhm.
Correct? So they
Right,
will
right,
always
yeah.
learn. If they have questions, they can always come back to me because I don't want anybody to do anything that'll hurt anybody. So I'm for continued education.
And so you mentioned not wanting your students to hurt anyone. Are there any contraindications for Reiki?
Anyone can have Reiki, and so for anyone that have any type of device in their chest. If any pacemakers, anything, I recommend don't do it. Some people feel like it's okay because it too is an electrical device, and Reiki is electric. It's current, it's energy, like everything else in the atmosphere, and they feel like it's okay, but I don't recommend it.
Okay. And so physical ailments, psychological ailments, spiritual ailments, none of those are contraindicated. Just if they have some type of electrical device implanted in
Correct.
their
That is
chest
correct.
cavity. Okay. And
Mhm.
so I think I asked this before, but I'm gonna circle back around and see if I can
Not a problem.
get a get some answers for the audience. Can you give me two or three examples of conditions that Reiki is particularly effective for?
Fibroids. I
Okay.
have a couple of young ladies that has fibroids, hard life, a lot of fighting, um, holding on to the anger because that's where fibroids come from, anger. I use again, I use the Yoni steam because I do the abdominal massage and I use Reiki to help heal, and the fibroid shrinks, and I use a combination of herbs to help with their yoni steam, and they do that every other week. Um, let's see, I have another young lady that suffers. What does she suffer from? It's not fibroids, but she has a cyst,
Hmm.
and I do Reiki on her cysts.
So, how
And
many sessions would we expect to go through before we see some of these dissolve?
it depends because the fibroids, the young lady that come, they do it every other week, and
Mhm.
I do it at a fixed price, so that way it's an affordable, and it takes at least up to 6 sessions to see a difference. Usually after the first session, they'll start to see a difference.
So the discomfort, pain will dissipate.
It will, and the fibroid will start to shrink.
So, have you had any of them go back to their allopathic doctor and have X-rays or something, and the doctor was shocked that uh,
Yes.
their
When I
condition
first,
is
hmm
abating?
yes, when I first started, I want to say it was 2017, and I was doing a yoni steam on a young lady, and she didn't want to get surgery, and she was like, "I'm just trying anything," and she started coming to me
I
every
can't blame
three.
her for that.
Yeah, she started coming every 3 weeks, and she just felt the difference. Even her self-esteem, she just started feeling more sexy. She had more confidence about herself. Her body started feeling good, and everything. I mean, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful sight to see, and I'm so
That's very
thankful.
encouraging. I'm definitely a proponent of integrative approaches. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if I break my leg, I'll go to an orthopod and have him work on that.
Mm-hmm.
But if I have an infection or something like that, I may do some antibiotics, but I'm definitely going to do everything that I can do to
Mm-hmm.
boost my own immune system.
That's right.
And on the psycho spiritual level, I'm going to engage in prayer and meditation and
Right.
um, mindfulness to modulate my own spirit
Mm-hmm.
and nervous system.
Yes.
I'm not just going to go, take the blue pill or the red pill and wait for some miracle to happen. Uh, I,
Right. Right.
I think I don't know how our society has gotten into that mind frame that we can take a pill for everything
Mm-hmm.
and,
Well, a lot of people don't know.
microwave every condition.
Yes, and you know what? And a lot of people don't know. They don't know about the red pill or the blue pill because they've been given one pill for so long. They don't know that the other exists. That's like somebody trying to get through to somebody. They're not listening. How do you help somebody when they know that they're not sick? And when I say sick, I mean not healed. because sometimes even when we're in the space of not being healed, we operate out of a certain mindset, not knowing that we're not okay. So sometimes taking that blue pill is is all we know.
Now, you said something that I really want you to elaborate on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Basically, the not knowing that you have a disease
Mm-hmm.
is not necessarily health and wellness. Can you elaborate on that and make that crystal clear for our audience
Sure.
about the difference between wellness and uh, latent disease?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wellness is being, as you said earlier, practicing mindfulness. Is getting to the root and discovering the why. And being sick, you don't know your why. Just say, for instance, I have a heart attack. What caused the heart attack? Oh, it's because of my diet. Okay, so what is causing you to emotional eat? Where did that trauma come from? Who hurt you to the point that you need comfort and food? Who made you feel like you've had self-love, and who taught you that you don't deserve better? So when you start discovering these things, you're no longer sick. You step into the space of wellness, health and wellness. Because when you love yourself, you don't talk to yourself any kind of way. When you love yourself, you just don't drink anything. When you love yourself, you won't say nothing or think bad thoughts that are going to bring down your vibration. So when you try to speak to someone that's sick and they don't know it, don't get mad at them. Be patient. Be patient because they don't understand what they don't know.
Now, Jamila, you touched on something that I really embrace myself, and I think the society in general is just kind of becoming aware of, and that being energy levels and vibrations.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Elaborate on that a little bit for me in our audience, especially in relation to being more directive and mindful of our
Mm-hmm.
health.
Mm-hmm. Well, and when you think of energy, right? And when you and I'm gonna do this in with the chakra system. So the very first one is your root, right? And the root chakra is synonymous to the reproductive system, correct? So just say if you have someone that's vibrating at a low frequency, or they're in the space where they're scattered and they're here, there, and everywhere. They're not grounded. They're not they're not centered, right? So you have this person that is scattered, correct? And they're moving around, they're doing this, they're doing that, they're doing this, and they're doing that, right? So let's get back to the part where we discover and figure out what have you like that. And there's so many things that can contribute to that. It could be finances, and it could be generational.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? They don't realize that they're always overspending, or they don't know how to save, or they're scared to spend. It's because something that they saw as a child. They don't realize that their mother was operating, or their father was operating out of, like most of our parents and grandparents, of not having. So they became hoarders. You see what I'm saying? So this right here, once we can get this little foundation together, we can raise our vibration and start feeling good about ourselves, because at least we know the root cause of this and the why. That's your second chakra, is feeling good about yourself. Your throat chakra is your real power. So now we're exercising, saving, and creating boundaries in a healthy space for ourselves, because now we're realizing we deserve better, right? Because we're loving on ourselves more. And that's our fourth chakra. That's our heart chakra. And now we're displaying a whole different energy out into the world, because we raised our vibration. Why? Because we learned something about ourselves that wasn't us, that we didn't do. It was projected onto us. It was projected onto us. And that's
Now,
how.
how
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I was just thinking about what you were saying. How long does it take for someone to come to this type of insight and be able to go away from a session and actually implement some of these things and raise their vibrational levels and respectively their health and attracting higher frequency people and events in their lives?
It depends because some people are worse off than others, being honestly. I have some people that it has taken. I had a young lady that was coming to me every other week, and she was paying $75 every other week. And I want to say maybe by the fourth or fifth visit, she coming into my office glowing, happy, laughing. And I don't mean just giggling or a chuckle. She was laughing from her core because she was happy. And there's a difference when you laugh from your core. So it depends on the individual. Some may need 1 or 2 sessions if they're remotely in the great space mentally and emotionally. But you have some people that's been through so much trauma that it may take 5 or 6 sessions, unfortunately.
And so I hear you saying that Reiki is particularly effective with trauma.
Yes.
Okay. All
Yes.
right. So
Mhm.
trauma, uh, mindfulness, women's issues, um,
Mhm.
fibroids.
Mhm. Men
Okay.
issues too, because I have young men
Like
that
what?
have I have a young man that was his parents are from Africa, and they came over here with nothing, worked really hard. They neglected him, and he was angry. And when I had my hand on his heart, I noticed he started clenching his fists. His jaws became tight because I started touching and tapping into his anger. And he was trying to fight it. I'm like, don't fight it, be angry. Why are you angry? And he said because he felt like his parents didn't love him because they left him. And I had to say, baby, your parents are working hard for you to have what you had today. They didn't know. And this is so many of us. We're so mad and angry about something that our parents did that it shapes us into who we are today. And I've had a few men like that. I had some men that come in here that will come to me that were wounded warriors.
Mhm.
I had some men that felt so unappreciated, and because they didn't have that power, they lost it. But I was so rewarding just to give it back to them. I had a young man that come to me that hadn't cried, never cried. He
Mm.
cried with me.
That's what they teach us right? Here in the
Mhm.
Western Hemisphere.
Yes,
That's
yes,
manly.
yes. And we need to undo that because we're hurting our young men. And then in turn, when we hurt our young men, they hurt our daughters. So we have to heal our men and make them right so that they can be right for our girls. And in turn, I'm healing my girls so that they can be right for these young men because we have to restore the home. We have to restore the home.
It sounds like a much more holistic and broad perspective of healing
It
than
is.
the allopathic medicine of lots of expensive procedures and x-rays and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
technology that puts you in debt, may give you
Mm-hmm.
cancer, and and really doesn't heal you. They just they specialize in giving you a title for your
Mm-hmm.
ailment.
Right. Correct. Correct. That is so true.
Now, have you found people that substitute or replace allopathic medicine entirely with Reiki, or do they use it in combination with
In combination.
allopathic
Mm-hmm.
medicine? And I'm thinking particularly in like cancer. I know
Mm-hmm.
cancer has a major psycho spiritual component to it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And it's unfortunate. I've had a client, an older guy, and he had liver cancer. And actually one of my coworkers introduced me to him, and she was like, she's this great healer. And I'm looking at her like, I can't do this. And I'm afraid because she's giving me all these flowers. And I'm like, I can't do that. I can't heal cancer. And he looked at me and was like, would you help me? And I told him yes. So we just went over his diet, replaced a lot of things of his diet, took a lot of the meat away, gave him a lot of green foods. And I started doing Reiki on him, getting him out into the sun. And he was doing really well until he could not afford to pay me. And he stopped calling me. Yes.
Now, I heard you mention recommending more vegetables, more wholesome foods. Now, is there a particular Reiki diet, or do you just advocate more wholesome food, vegetables, fruits, etc.?
There is not a Reiki diet. I don't recommend anybody to change their diet unless they want to. I can tell them the whys of eating certain foods and what it can do to the body, but I recommend everyone to eat according to their blood type. So
Okay.
there's no particular diet. I felt that him eating more greens and less meat would help heal him, and it did, because within 2 weeks, his pH level was a 6.3, and it went back up to a 6.7 within 2 weeks. So other than that, I don't recommend. I don't really
Okay.
get into the diet with people.
Okay, now on that note, I think we're going to turn a corner here and wrap it up. We've been going for about 40 minutes. We don't want to wear the audience out. We want to leave them wanting to hear some more of you. So
Oh,
you've given us some good food for thought. Um, it sounds like Reiki can again be effective with uh, women with fibroids, people going through a variety of
mhm.
trauma, emotional stressors, um,
Yes, universal healing.
in a complementary healing modalities for people who are suffering with cancer. Um, so it sounds like it definitely is a worthwhile modality to investigate at the minimum. Now, I
Mm,
heard you say that your price is $75 per session. That's what, an hour, or how does that
yes,
work?
it is.
Okay.
The Reiki session is 1 hour for $75, and the Yoni steam is $65 for 1 hour.
And is that once a week, or it just depends on the condition?
It depends on the client. It depends on the client. Some people are healthy, heal, and whole. They come once a month for Reiki. I have some that come every week.
Okay. And so you mentioned that you have a office. I think your office is in the South End section of Charlotte. Is that
It's actually in the Dilworth area.
Dilworth?
Mhm. Yes,
Okay.
1409 East Boulevard. Yes.
And so that's over by Atrium,
Um,
Maine,
yes, in the
not too far
Outback.
from there.
Mhm. Correct.
Okay.
Yep,
All right.
Kenilworth area. Yep.
And so you're open Monday through Friday, or do people have to contact you for appointments?
I am open Tuesday through Saturday. Tuesday through
Okay.
Friday is 9 to 5:30, and Saturdays is 9 to 3:30. And you can reach me at spiritoflotushealing.com, or you can get me at spiritoflotushealing@gmail.com.
Okay. And one more time, in case people were drifting off, or they were clicking on their phone or something.
Mm-hmm. So you can reach me at spiritoflotushealing.com or at spiritoflotushealing@gmail.com.
Okay. Well, people, there you have it. As I promised, I only bring you the best and the brightest. I hope you found this impactful and helpful. Um, Jamila, I thank you for coming on and imparting some wisdom and information on to the audience. I hope that some of them reach out to you. I will leave all the information in the description below on both the YouTube videos and the podcast.